What's up, Baku? Oh, what's up, Baku gamers? Welcome to the first episode of League Week. I was originally gonna make these higher quality videos, etc., etc. Kind of like me in the, I guess you would call it studio. Me standing in front of my shelf of garbage. Realistically, is what it should be known as, but it's not. I figured since it is Leak Week, a new segment that we're doing, and it is about leaks, and this is going to be primarily the format that leaks are going to partake in from now on. I figured I might as well get you guys caught up with, you know, that fast, like, I'm going to get this out to you guys as fast as possible kind of vibe. So I apologize if the quality is not up to our standards here, but I figure it's just good to get that information out, and then maybe my initial takes on some of these new cards and kind of the effect that they could have on the game. So without further ado, let's get in on this. These leaks are provided by NF. He was the first to get his hands on it and leak it to the general public. So shout out to NF. Thank you very much for this boost in the community. The first leak of the week that we have is a starter deck that is not necessarily a leak, but thanks to Cuckoo Toys, a lot of people have been able to get their hands on. You've seen the contents leaked for the Haos Ultra set, and then very recently the Aquos Howlkor deck, which is the sync that Kimbo opened on his own video, and now this is the final one that comes with, we actually have them right here, Pyrus Batrix Ultra. This is the Pyrus Batrix Ultra set, and it comes with these three Bakugan. Now, while they are fairly, the only one that is like exciting here is the Cycloid, since it completely power creeps Darkus Hydrus Ultra, because it 14 damage on its own because of that 8 rating, and then if you land on a 253, which honestly you're not going to be using with him. You can, and the inherent Shadow Strike is very nice for those Ventus matchups, which you will be seeing in the near future, because Ventus Sync is one of the best decks, one of the two best decks, essentially. And it's worth playing around, because 2 Fire Fist is not something to sleep on, and especially with the dissatisfaction we've been having with the current Darkus Bakugan out, for various reasons, like because the Pyrus Darkus sync wants to move towards more bigger damage numbers. So Krakelios, while it hits that 1400 on a Helix and gives additional damage helixes, you know, etc., etc. I'm not going to go too far into that. I'm going to post a separate video on the different sync decks, so we're not going to go into big detail here, but Cycloid is very exciting just because it has the biggest damage number with the best core lineup that we've seen. There is Auxiliator, but that comes with 2 Fist, and that's cringe. Ryurazu, 2 Magic Shield, which is also of note, and comes with 2 Frost Strike, which, and it lands on 1250 when you land on a Magic Shield, which is not too far of a deficit, but with Bakugan leaning more towards 1450 at the bare minimum, that's not too great. And then Batrix Ultra, with the 702 with the Helix, it was like, ooh. It's exciting to see, because 1300, which is 50 more than Ryurazu and about 150 less than what is norm. I was excited to see this in, again, the Pyrus sync, because, again, kind of like the Darkest slot, Pyrus has been having a hard time finding that slot, and right now we've been using Vice Rocks, which carries that Helix, so that Hydrus can run a damage Helix as well, for the very same reason. But as you'll see further on, the Batrix Evo does not make up for it. It's garbage. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the actual cards here. I'm going to go over them one by one. Pyrus Energizer, 2 costs, 100 B power, 1 damage. Can be used as a second Baku gear. We've seen this in the other attributes, the other factions. So this is just kind of like, we have to do this one too. Like, it's not that exciting. Pyrostormer, 6 cost, double strike gear for 600 B power, and when evaluating gears, always be sure to give it the -2 in the case of gear reduction. So 4 cost for double strike and plus 600, not worth your time. Blaze Helm For 4 cost, technically 2, we get a Sifting Ashes effect with 102 damage. If you thought Sifting Ashes wasn't expensive enough, just don't bother your time with this one. Oh my god. It's not... like, it's cute because it's another Sifting Ashes, but... no. For 2 cost, no. Just run Sifting Ashes and then Aquos, because that's the route we have to do with all the decks anyways. Just run Aquos. I'm so tired of Aquos. But it's not going away anytime soon, so... Then Darkus Fire Destabilizer, 6 cost, technically 4. Rapid Fire deck, so technically free. And it can be used as a second Baku gear. Finally, we're getting more B power, even at the cost of gears, which I kind of like more than just regular action cards that give B power, because it permanently enhances these Bakugan. So I actually am a big fan of this when it comes to rapid fire. Still, we're missing out on the crucial B power, even with the next action card that comes with rapid fire that you will see in the near future. But 401 for technically free. It's just rapid fire's weakness right now is we have 3 starters: Darkus Ash, Shadow Flame, and Twilight Axes on a -2 gear reduction core. That's it. The rest of the support that we've been getting for rapid fire has been too expensive to maintain. The deck just gets cloggier and cloggier with the more support we get, and 9 starters, while in a 40 card deck you're going to be running into them, especially with Aquos, to draw, because that's what it's looking like. You have to run Aquos. Like, Baku Treasure is just too good of a card not to run, especially when you need to draw your combo pieces. So you essentially minimize that to where you have a 37 card deck, so it's so much easier to draw those 9 pieces that you need in your deck, if that makes any sense. Battle Hardened, we're going to move on. If you flip 3 or more cards, this attack, stop, non-Pyrus, add 5 energy. Yes, 5 energy to do nothing with during end phase. Love that. This is, again, similar to Pyrus, or Picus? I just noticed that's called Picus. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. If we ever have to start calling the dual factions by their printed names, like Picus, that sounds like a slur almost. I don't feel comfortable saying Picus. So I'm gonna avoid that. I think Darkwos, that's the only one I think that is actually funny. Darkwos. Anyway, Battle Hardened, this is just like Picus Energizer. It's one of those ones where it's like, hey, we're doing this for every faction, let's just get this out of the way. This is the Pyrus edition, and +5 energy during end phase is garbage. Darkus Fire Dodge, like literally what I just said, they're basically going through the motions. There's going to be the one for, this is the rapid fire one technically because it's the dual faction ones, so 0 cost Darkus and Pyrus stop. This is not going to be as good as Obscuring Evade, because that is Aquos and Darkus, in which you are going to see those 2 in sync coming up. So that one's going to be more viable, depending on whether or not the Pyrus sync version or the Ventus sync version is going to be seen more often. You might consider teching this one in, but if not, wait for the boost one to be revealed, which is obviously going to be Aquos and Ventus. Now, Dark Resilience, again, like Battle Hardened, same thing. 3 cost Baku flip. It's a 3 cost flip, so it's garbage in your hand, and then on top of that, the added restriction of you have to have flip 3 or more cards to cause it to stop this during that attack. Oh my god. You get to choose a player to discard a card. With that caveat, similar to the Ventus one, where you just get to, I think, play any card from your that was flipped that turn or sent during damage. Like, that's an effect worthy of having such constituents or constituents. I'm just gonna say restrictions. Screw it. Sorry, I'm gone right now. But this is just a chaotic darkness for 3 cost and an added condition. Like, pass, hard pass. The only thing that is redeemable about this is the artwork and how Enoch is Slav posing. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I can see that is redeemable about that card. Other than that, it's garbage. So here we go. 5 cost, Pyro Field, 5 damage, Double Strike, and Shadow Strike. Pretty much what you'd see, those kind of throwaway cards that are too high for, you know, what you're paying for, and then it comes with 3 effects, so it justifies that higher price. So we're just going to skip past this and go to an even more exciting card, Ruinous Blade, which is a 4 cost, plus 404 damage, rapid fire. Yes, yes, yes. Finally, we are getting the B power we need. Finally, 400 B power and 4 damage in a rapid fire card, which means if you have Darkus Ash, you are playing this for free. Turn 1. You are competing with your Hyduruses as long as they don't have the Dark Waters or what else do they use? Not Liquid Darts anymore. Not Sync either. You're not beating Sync with this. But in a perfect world, if this came out in AV, this would be just what we needed to compete with the Hyduruses coming up. But no, we live in this reality where Sync exists, so sorry, Rapid Fire. It was a nice try, but your older brother Sync just completely stole the show, and we don't really care about you anymore. You only have a few loyal fans that praise be the Church of Fury, but everyone else can be thrown in the mud pit. Pyrus Flash Fire is the first Rapid Fire card that we saw coming out of this set, thanks to lovely Kodok and his beautiful bald head. I just want to slap him on his little bald head. It looks so smooth. Kodok, if you're watching this, name a date and time. I'm ready to see you whenever you want. If not, I'll just see you at the next convention. I'm in no rush. We're going to move on here. 4 cost, basically free. Again, you see what I'm seeing with the rapid fire cards are so expensive. There's hardly any starter cards. And these 2 cards are literally the example of that. It's an Inferno Wings without the B power bonus, so just remove all enemy cores and negate their effects. This was basically what you'd use against Mega Pega and hope that they don't have the reroll, but more than likely, because they were using Aquos and Pyrus, they were going to have a reroll. So this is what you'd use against actually this is what you'd use against Aquos Ventus Sync, because they don't have room for rerolls, so screw them. Catch them slipping. Pyrus Spirit, 5 cost, 1000. Yeah, okay. Baku Fusion Fury. This is actually one that is... I really like it. It's worth playing around with, mainly for the fact that it's 3 cost plus 303 damage, which is... That's good, but the second effect is what is really worth playing around with, is the plus 3 energy for each Baku gear attached to your Bakugan. So you either, if you have a gear attached, you either go... You know, it's like it's free, or you go plus 3. So I like that a lot. That's more value than Song of Fire, to be honest, but it does require a bit more setup. And this is free off Super Fuel too, and then you get plus 6, or essentially you go plus 5. So that would be kind of exactly like Super Fuel into Song of Fire, I believe. Am I? No, you go plus 6 to the plus 4. Okay, yeah. Never mind. This is in that case, that would be better than Super Fuel, but you're not cheesing this out turn 1 unless you have 2 Tempest generators in your hand. Like, it's... See, like, the mind can go on for hours and hours about the multiple ways you can use this. It's not going to be competitive by any means, but it looks like a fun card, and I actually really like the design of this one. Baku Spin Blast, 3 cost, draw 1, double strike. That's going in the bin as soon as I get my hands on the starter deck. Instant Baku Gear, 2 energy, plus 400 damage. Haha, yes, Miss Prince in 2020. I'm so glad we're not done with that. Typical Bakugan, thank you. If that Bakugan has an if that Bakugan has a Baku Gear attached to it, draw 1, good. Discard 1, cringe. If we had more cards that enabled sacrifice, like... Oh, if this is discarded, blah, 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 this would be interesting, but no. Like, no. Hyper Batrix Ultra, 2 cost, 803. If this has 2 Baku Gear attached to it, double strike. So you see what I was talking about with the Pyrus Batrix Ultra. This Evo is the worst Evo I think I've ever seen. You pay 2 cost for 100 B power and 1 damage. That's stupid. That's not good. And then you need 2 Baku Gear attached to it to gain the double strike. So this is literally just play Ruinous Blade. Like, literally anything else, any other card on this picture is more worth running in your deck than Hyper Batrix Ultra. Hyper Batrix Ultra is such a waste of cardboard. I'm sorry. And then now... This is what we thought the starter deck was going to be, was more empowered stuff, which I don't even think I even see an empowered card here. And he just did this picture twice. Oops. No, it is the Baku Cavalry. I'll get to that in a second. But we already had a rapid fire deck in AV in those waves. So we thought, because we haven't had an Empower deck yet, this would be the Empower because it had Haos and it had a Pyrus Bakugan. So, oops. Rapid fire just twice. Here we go. But we're just going to keep going. I mean, I like the more rapid fire support, but obviously I can see why a lot of Empowered fans are pissed off by this. So Haos Scorch, 1 cost, 4 damage. Yes, let's further power creep out Fireball by making it completely useless. And it was already power creeped out with Chaotic Flare and Darkus Ash. So it's just even more of a reason not to run that. Scorching Laser Lance is a 4 cost, 3 damage, and then you get 3 damage and 3 Frost Strike for each Bakugan attached to that Bakugan. So that's a common trend I'm seeing within Fusion Force. They're really pushing that second Bakugear thing, which not a lot of them are noteworthy enough. I think the Rapid Fire one is the only one that... I think Crystal Blaster is also one, but don't quote me on that. I know it has like a paragraph of text, so... There's only like 1 or 2 gears that can be equipped as the second one that are actually worth considering. So I don't think a lot of these for each Baku gears are going to be played, especially since how slow it is to equip all those gears, even with the gear reductions. But yeah, this one definitely is not worth it because it is a 4 cost, and compared to another card that is going to be revealed, or I'm going to reveal the leak later in the week. 4 costs have just changed their meaning irreparably. And this is not one of those 4 costs that are even worth considering. Firelight Fuser, 2 cost. Again, second Baku gear. When you play it, only when you play it, plus 3 damage, 200, and technically 3 for the turn. No. Baku Cavalry, this is a very good Empower card. It's misprinted. It's supposed to say 100 B power and 500 B power, and even so, for 0 cost, and if you have Lian Dan out, which lets you empower cards for free, it is very good. It is very good in Empower decks, so that's worth picking up, and on its own, no, it's not 100 damage. Please stop. Haos Max Blast, 5 damage, and if this card has a Baku gear attached to it, plus draw 1, so this is if Baku Cavalry actually lets you plus. Oops. Haos Slashers, 4 cost gear, 2 cost gear technically, 1 Frost Strike and plus 400. No, especially when you're playing it for turn 2, people can pay free and 2 cost flips, even though there's no 2 cost flips you really use. And especially with cards like this, where the 0 cost 2 factions, there's a lot of flips that people are just going to be playing for free. That's just the matter of fact. Frost Strike is becoming less and less relevant unless you're able to stack a bunch of it like Trox and Clone Army. But that's what Trox is just being able to just Clone Army. But back-to-back, 0 cost Pyrus, Haos, okay. And that's it. That's the whole set. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you thought. If you are in for Leak Week, you're locked in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That's what bad boys do. And I swear to God, if you do not follow my Twitter at Magnus of Youtube, I will throw you in the mud pit. I will make sure you never claw your way out. That's a promise. That's a promise. Bad boys keep their word. So you better follow me at Magnus of Youtube. And don't obviously subscribe here because like this format, it's easy to push out very fast, so whenever there is a leak, I will be there. I will beat Haruren to the punch. You will get my word on this. I promise. I love you. Goodbye.